Rick Hodge, Outside the Lines, brought to you by Henley Honda.
Really, I mean really, there are people who are actually thrilled about what the Maple Leafs accomplished this season, which was what? Missing the playoffs again? Not even the boss of all things blue, Brian Burke, is buying into that one. He has stated publicly that if your team doesn't make the playoffs, then the season has been a failure. And he says the season has been a failure. He's right about that. Those who think otherwise are wrong. The Buds are abysmal. It's just that simple. They've been this way since Pac Quinn was ushered out of town. Not that Quinn won a Stanley Cup or even got to a final, but his teams were competitive and they were rarely boring. Burke's bevy hasn't made a dent. Yes, they look good down the stretch, I'll give you that, but as the boss himself says, you have to win games in months that end in R, and that would be October, November, and December. Maple Leafs didn't do that. What I like about this guy is that he is willing to admit that the team he has failed. What I don't like is his premature prognosticating that the Buds are postseason prepped to pull a playoff position out of the atmosphere. He's done it in back-to-back seasons, and that gives the fans hope that turns out to be false hope. Not that I wouldn't have hired the guy. I mean, he laid the foundation of what we see with the Vancouver Canucks by song and dancing his way into not one, but both of the Sedin twins. When he headed south down the coast to Anaheim, he pulled off a coup by getting Chris Pronger, which gave the Ducks, who hadn't been mighty in a pretty long time, their first and only Stanley Cup win. The best general manager in the business? Nah, I don't think so. But better than the languishing Leaf faithful have seen for a long time. Problem is, Burke came in looking for a fast overhaul. Reality put the nix on his quick fix. He thought he had one of the deepest group of defensemen in the league. He was wrong about that. He sold the future for Phil Kessel, but forgot that the guy needed to be aided and abetted by a center who could actually find his wingers. He had special teams that belonged in special class, so he either overestimated the talent he had assembled or he had a coach who couldn't coax it to capacity. Now that the season is lost, Burke is treating his draft picks like gold futures. You gotta have them, you gotta keep them. And he's also talking about dipping into the free agent market again, and you know what? That gives me a full body shiver. His big three free agent signings were a bust. What were supposed to be his first line of defense, Francois Beauchemin and Mike Komisarek, never answered the bell. Beauchemin traded away, Komisarek would have been, but there were no takers, not with his contract. He thought Chris Versteeg looked good as a third liner with a Stanley Cup winner out in Chicago, and he did. Not so good as a wannabe second liner with an underachieving outfit in Toronto. I'm not going to tell you that Burke hasn't improved the talent level of the Maple Leafs, and there was an inkling of hope that the elusive playoff spot that the fans so desperately want was within reach down the stretch, but it all went tap city. It doesn't much matter what the fans think. The final word goes to Burke. The season for the Toronto Maple Leafs was a failure. He's right about that. I'm Rick Hodge.
Rick Hodge, Outside the Lines, has been brought to you by Henley Honda.